Hey, how's it going, everybody? Shaggy from the Order of Mithril here. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. Hope you're having a good one so far. But I have a special video today. Today I did an interview with Flaw. He is a streamer, a gamer, and an all-around good guy. And I'm very grateful that he gave me some of his time to do this interview with me, to give a little bit of backstory about his gaming life and what inspired him to stream and what he wants to see happen with the game that he streams regularly, Apex Legends. I hope you guys actually take the initiative and go into his stream and check him out if you haven't already. But thanks, guys. Let's get into it. Alright, so to give everybody a little bit of backstory about yourself, what drew you to the gamer lifestyle?
Oh man, it started when I was really young. I got my tonsils taken out when I was like 7 or 8, and before that I'd had like a Nintendo and stuff like that. But my dad put a Sega Genesis in my room, and I never had one in my room. It was always like the living room community space, and after that it was pretty much all over. And started PC gaming with my uncle when I was about 12. Started building them with him. By 13 I had my own rig that I built myself, and we went from there. And here we are.
I mean, that's usually what gets people going into PC gaming. Usually they've started tinkering, or they've just decided that, to hell with all the console stuff. Let's go ahead and get into the expensive toys.
Oh yeah.
So, what was your favorite game or series?
Oh man. It depends on the genre. First person shooter would have to be Unreal Tournament 2003, 99, 2004. Those that genre, right? I mean, that little section of time was very good. I was part of a pro team in Unreal Tournament that got invited to E3 when I was like 16. It was really fun. And I mean, if it was MMO related, I mean, WoW, I played World of Warcraft for like 7 years. So that's another huge one. Consoles, I'm an old school fan too of like, Smash and all that kind of stuff. So it just depends on the genre, man. I've been gaming a long time, so saying one definitive game, Metal Gear Solid is one of my all-time favorite like console games. So it just depends.
It's funny that you say that Smash was one of your like noticeable games from your past, because I honestly cannot picture you playing Smash.
Oh yeah, when I was a kid, it was that and Mario Kart.
Man, we're gonna have to get a couple of Switches. I'm gonna have to see if I can school you in something.
Oh boy.
Tell me, what was your main inspiration to stream?
Oh man, it was kind of wild because I'd always wanted to, but I didn't know even what it really was when I was younger. Unreal Tournament, around that time that game was popping, streaming wasn't even really thought of. It was just kind of like barely even in its infancy, and nobody really knew about it. And I kind of fell away from that aspect of things and started, focusing on, real life. And when I came back into it, I started playing Destiny on the PlayStation, and the people I was playing with were like, dude, you are really good. Like, you're funny, you're really good at the game. Like, you should stream this. And I was like, I don't know. So I did my first stream, and not a lot of people know this. I did my first stream off a PS4, and I had like, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 people watching me. Then the next one, it was like 6 or 7. The next one, it was like 8 or 9. And I only did like 3 or 4 streams on my PS4, and then I just kind of like let it go, because I couldn't get out of the mindset that it wasn't a viable stream, for the simple fact that I didn't have a camera. I didn't, know what I was doing. I had no real overlay. It was right from the PS4 to Twitch. And it was really, really ass backwards and wonky. So, that was kind of like my first venture into it. And it was the bug. That was it. That's the bug that bit. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this, man. A lot of people were backing me that I played with, and I mean, most of them are still here. You know, Airstall, Darkby, he pops in once in a while. You know, there's a few others that were day one. You know, and then blackout hit, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stream this in a professional manner. I'm gonna get it, you know, a camera, you know, get a decent mic, and I look back on those streams, and now I think, God, what dog shit, you know. I was like, but you know, you gotta start somewhere.
Right on. And again, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that's what's inspired me to start doing this whole YouTube thing. Is I've heard you talk about it in bits and pieces here and there about how you started with not knowing a whole lot about what was going on, but you put effort into it and you got your equipment together, and now I would say that you're a pretty solid streamer. You're obviously a very solid gamer. I mean, you're what, number 3 in the world with Wraith for kills and number 4 in the world for damage, or did I get those two backward?
It's backward, but it's fine. It's 4 for kills and 3 for damage, but I mean, it's at that point it fluctuates.
Right.
You know, there's people that grind this game, so if you're off a day or two, you know, you lose a position or two, and it's not even, you don't even worry about it. It's like,
Well, I'm glad you had the inspiration to do what you're doing, because if I had not seen you doing what you were doing, then I would not be doing what I'm doing. And I feel like I have a passion project in front of me, and I feel like I'm motivated to do something.
Well, that's good, man. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, I really do appreciate it, though. And that kind of leads me into my next point. The community that you've built is actually really amazing. And I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about the Fatal Fam.
I mean, we are just normal people, man, that aren't really normal, you know? Like we're a tight-knit group, and we're ever expanding, and it's pretty crazy to see the growth. And you know, you got every streamer's gonna have a different take on their community, but I almost feel weird saying it, because it's like you hear it so often where people are like, I want to grow my community, but that's not just my sole purpose. Like, I want my community to grow, not like, oh, I want to get this massive community. No, I want like everyone inside my community to flourish. So, like, for instance, things like this, you know, I want to be able to help out everyone. I want us to all be uplifted. I want us to all like go to the next level of whatever we're trying to do. And I don't know. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy seeing everyone's individual growth and the community growing because of that. So it's pretty cool.
It is, man. I still remember the first time that I jumped into a game of Drunk Night Monopoly with you and like Demonic Kitty and Aristal, and everybody was bashing on Aristal because she had a pink character or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
And other things about the community are really great, because there's been a couple of times where you've had a couple of jump into the chat and just be complete assholes, and before you even realized what was going on, the community basically just gave them the boot before you could even do anything about it.
Oh yeah, I feel bad for most trolls and everything, because I mean, as good as I am at keeping up with the chat and streaming and all that, there's times where you're in the middle of something and somebody will wait for that opportune time to mouth off or say something offhand, and my God, I almost feel bad for him, because my stream doesn't play, man. My community is like, you go into some people's chats and there's 30, 40, 50, even 100 people watching, and you got 1, 2, 3 people talking. You talk shit in my stream, you're gonna have 20 people give you the boot before I can even say anything. It's like, oh shit. I look over and I just want to see a wall of expletives. I'm just like, oh, okay, what's going on? And I look and I see somebody said something dumb, and I'm like, oh, well, here we go. You brought this on yourself.
You're what I would say as a pro. You are probably what I would also call God tier in Apex. And with that comes notoriety and the need to branch out a little bit into organizations. So, could you tell me a little bit about how it's been with Sola Fide?
Oh man, it's been pretty amazing. I'm in a unique position, whereas I'm not a young guy. I'm a married guy, 34. I don't need a big money contract, you know. I don't need to rely on a paycheck from an organization to get my bills paid. So that allowed me to look at a lot of organizations and to be really selective about who I chose and not just want to be orged up right away just for sake of belonging to an org, you know. And this organization, when I looked around, I would jump into other organizations, like people in other organizations, streams, chats. I would see a level of, certain things that I either liked or didn't. And a lot of the times it's very mundane, very just another, streamer or another this or another that. And I've been telling Solafide since the day one of joining, like the gap between a pro player and a content creator is ever closing. And eventually you'll get to a point where it's not good enough just to be a pro player who doesn't pay attention to chat and barely streams. Just like it will not be enough just to be a content creator. Just to be a guy who goes in and does, funny this or funny that. Eventually the communities will demand more. And I see that that's a place where I can fit in. And I see that that's where the streaming communities are migrating to. You look at your biggest Apex streamers, your biggest Fortnite streamers, your biggest Modern Warfare streamers. They're incredibly good at the game, and they're also very active with their chat. Their community comes first. And that is what I strive to be like. And I want to surround myself with people like that. And Solafide is a perfect place to be for that.
Yeah, one of the other members of that organization that I have frequented their stream, not as much as yours, even though I did start watching it before you, is Noob King Smith. And
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's
and
a
I think
homie.
he does a really good job of balancing providing good gameplay and being interactive with his chat. He's just like you. He's constantly bouncing back and forth between his chat and what he's doing in the game, and I think he does an excellent job of it. And really, I mean, I just like the rambunctious nature of the character and the person that you are in your stream a little bit better. He's laid back, and I like that about him. But I need a little bit of zaniness in there in the mix. I grew up on Tom and Jerry. If somebody doesn't get hit with the frying pan, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, he's a really good dude, and admittedly, there are some aspects of his stream that he's just better at, and I strive to like I said, surround myself with people that I can learn from. And there's a few people in SF that I both look up to and think that I can help, and that's a good mix. You want to be there, and me and him definitely have a vibe when we get together. If you ever watch him when he's playing with other people, like I've been in his chat and I've seen him play with other people, and there's just a different vibe, different chemistry to everybody that you play with. And he's got me and him have a really really funny vibe, and I dig it a lot. It's cool.
Well, right on. I'm glad to hear that you have a nice working relationship with him. And you can see those videos on YouTube where you have two streamers that play together a lot, and then you have those rage compilations where they're both just losing their shit because of the other one.
Yeah.
So it's good to have somebody that you can be in sync with.
Oh yeah.
But let's go ahead and get into your bread and butter, your meat and potatoes here, Apex. So when did you start playing Apex, and what drew you to it?
About 2 weeks after it came out, I really wanted Blackout to make a comeback. I really thought their updates would do something, and they didn't. It was just a dead game, and I was like, well, let's see what other people are playing. And a couple of my friends were like, you should try Apex. And my first game, I dropped 15 kills and like 3,200 damage, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do really well in this game. And then about a week later, I was up to like 18 kills and like 38, 39. 100 damage somewhere in there. Then somebody told me they were like, yeah, 4K damage is like the highest you can get for badges, and 20 kills is like the highest you can get for badges. And I was like, all right, well, we'll see what we can do. And it didn't take too long before me and the boys were out there grinding it, and I never looked back. I knew right away. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a game I play for a while.
Yeah, I still remember whenever I was at work, because I'm a cell phone tech at the time, and done everything that I needed to do, and I was on a lunch break, and I was watching your stream, and with like in the first 4.5, 5 minutes of the game, you had already dropped like 6 or 8 people, and then at the end of that game, you ended up dropping like 21, 20 people, something like that. I can't even remember the damage, but it was a hellacious game to watch. And I'm glad that nobody came into the store while I'm in the back eating pizza watching your stream, because there was a lot of expletives flying from my mouth at the time.
Oh man, I'm glad like I can have that kind of effect on people, man, because that's what it's about for me. Like I want people to enjoy the stream first and foremost, and I want to be a badass player, secondary. And it's weird because I've never been like that in my life in any game I've ever played. I played World of Warcraft for one of the top rated US guilds in the world, and we push server first and world first all the time. And, now shifting gears and realizing that, all I really care about is how people are, how they're taking the stream, how they're having a good time. So I don't know. I think there's that gap, like I said earlier, that's getting shorter and shorter between a pro player and a content creator, and hopefully I can bridge that gap for people.
Well, I don't think you have anything to worry about in that department, man. I think you do both pretty well.
Yeah, try.
So what's continued to set Apex apart from other games out there to you?
Movement. Bar none. Movement. End of statement. Movement is everything in that game. I like other shooters, don't get me wrong. Modern Warfare is a fun game, but you can't move. I grew up in the Unreal Tournament Quake era, where movement was awesome. And you could wall jump in Unreal Tournament, and you could use your impact hammer to fly around the map and all kinds of, cool things. And man, like this game is the closest you can get to it, and I don't think anything's going to beat it for a long time.
Right on. I completely agree with you about Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty, sorry, Warzone. It's you do feel like you're running a lot slower, like slogging through the mud whenever you come from Apex to Warzone, and the slide it's pointless to me. I don't see how it's of any use to anybody at any point in time in that game. I mean, I see people using it, but I don't get it. It's doesn't have enough momentum, doesn't have enough speed, you don't go very far, and when you do it, it seems like you end up making yourself a target more than getting yourself out of the way.
Well, I mean, it's a totally different mindset with that game, but for me specifically and personally, I like being able to control the other team through my movement, not just, hey, look, I can pin them down and we have better positioning because we got positioning early and we set a trap for them, basically. Or that's fine, that's a fine way to play the game, but I like to overcome somebody's better positioning through better movement. I like to use abilities that allow me to gain an advantage. I like using my brain more than just I clicked on a target and held a button down. Like, that's cool if you got god tier aim, that's wonderful, but god tier aim while moving is more impressive to me.
Right. And we had actually talked about this. I don't think I have the movement down in Apex quite like you do, but whenever I was playing competitively really hardcore with a group of people and was trying to go for better ranking, was back in the Halo 3 days. And I could rope-a-dope anybody that I came across in that game in close, whether it was just doing melee, shotguns, swords, whatever have you. And I competed with another guy that I played with pretty regularly that went by the name Driftola. And one day he just got a wild hair up his butt, and he went to running at me backwards, and I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm just going to crack him once in the back of the head, and at the last second he jumped over me, and he had the back of my head, and he cracked me like I thought I was going to do him. It comes down to the way you can interact with the environment, the world that you're actually in at the time. So I totally get your statements about movement. If you don't have if you don't have the smoothness to it, if you don't have
Yep.
that ease of environmental control, yeah, I get it. I do.
Oh yeah.
But tell me, thinking about the current state of the game, what would you take out and what would you leave in but change?
Oh man, I would absolutely nerf the Prowler. I would look at the, as dumb as it is, and as dumb as it's going to sound, one of the key aspects of this game that I enjoy is, aside from the game itself, is seeing the store and what they're doing. And I think that they need to really look into that too. I don't need a week and a half to decide if I want a P2020 or a Mozambique skin. I just don't. And I don't think anybody else does either.
Nope.
So that seems lazy to me. And I get that with the global pandemic and everything that's going on, that it's a problem, And I do give them huge props, and I take nothing away from them for their updates that they do put out, because they're doing it from home. And that's awesome to me. However, it also doesn't excuse the issues that have been issues since day one. The hacking issue is a problem. It needs immediate addressing. I should not be able to jump into a ranked match and be killed by the same hacker 3 games in a row. I shouldn't be able to encounter him several days in a row. I shouldn't be able to encounter different hackers that just went and made a level 10, brand new account, level up level 10, and now they're in ranked. In 2 days they're level 25 and have, they're 10,000 RP in. It's like, okay, they're clearly just doing this to ruin the game, and that's a problem. Like I said about specific weapons, though, the Prowler needs some attention. 35 bullets in an automatic Prowler with very good hip fire is an issue. The R9 being vaulted is what's being kicked around social media right now. And when I say vaulted, I don't mean like taken out of the game. I misspoke. What I mean is like in the care package. And I mean, that's fine. Whatever they want to do on that end doesn't really matter. But what will matter is them balancing the weapons and the time to kill. And there's some weapons that are really, really good. And there's other weapons that are not quite as good that could use some attention. There's a tier list that I would put it in, and a perfect example is you have the PK and the Mastiff. I would love to see the PK brought back and the Mastiff put back in the care package, because honestly, the Mastiff without a bolt is like a D tier weapon. And then you get a bolt and it's an S tier weapon immediately. Okay, maybe not a D tier weapon, but you get what I'm saying. The reload, the re-aim and the animation of that gun once you fire it without a bolt and waiting for it to get back on target and all that is just, it's obscene. Sentinel, same thing. And not just the reload animation of that. I think that's okay where it's at. But the actual readying the weapon, the pulling out of the weapon, or switching of weapons, I mean, better have enough time to get that out and around a corner, and that's where movement comes in. I just there's little tweaks that they should do and could do, but the bigger ones that are more pressing to the actual community itself is definitely the hacking issue. It needs to be addressed before they do anything else, in my opinion.
I can totally agree with that. Nobody likes anybody that's going to just be there to ruin the fun for anybody else or everybody else. It's like you go to a house party and everybody's chill, everybody's cool, and then you have that one guy that pre-lubed too much, and next thing you know, he's broken the coffee table.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really sad thing to see when you have people who put, I've put over 3,500 hours into this game, and that's nothing to sneeze at. Nope. And other people are around the same, and you have the full capability. I think they run like 20 US servers or something like that, 2 or 3 games in a server at any given time with a region. So you're talking maybe 100 games, You you got people at home right now. Give them access to overseeing a couple of servers. You know, have them sit there. They don't even have to sit there for long. You know, and they don't even have to do it for pubs. Let's do it for ranked. Let's have them sit there for ranked and go, okay, you're gonna watch a few ranked games today, and if anybody reports anything, you're gonna ban them. You're gonna spectate them and ban them. And just doing that, and I get that that's a daunting task and it's nothing small and it's easy to say. I get that it's a big thing, but it's a step that deserves to be taken for a community that's poured their heart and soul into it, that love this game. If not, it will die. Like, there's not a question of, if, it's when. And I mean, Modern Warfare's got the same thing going on right now. So hopefully going to Steam fixes it, helps it. I don't know, but it needs addressing.
Right on. I don't blame you for any point that you've made at all. So we have a new legend, Rampart, coming out in Season 6. Tell me what you think of her from what we know so far. I know that there's not been any actual gameplay of her. We don't know exactly what she's going to be able to do, but tell me what you think so far.
Well, I mean, I can see her being utilized well. I can also see her being almost useless for her team. It'll really depend on, until I get to play her myself. I don't generally like to put my input on it, but from what I can see, you're either going to have people who run, a sniper with your Revenant, and your Wraith, your Revenant ults, your Rampart's laying down cover, your Wraith portal's in, they're weakened while the Wraith portal's in, and the sniper's behind the impenetrable wall, and it's just a cluster, and then you just get rolled. Likewise, I can also see them getting third-partied really easy and getting blown away from behind while they're focused on whatever they're doing. So, I mean, I don't think she'll be unbalanced. I just think it'll be another useless character, honestly. I don't think it's going to be super huge in any way, shape, or form. I think it's just going to be another C-tier character. She's probably not going to be meta. She's probably going to be somewhere in the mix that's just a fun character to pub stomp with.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of her as well whenever I saw that her ult was going to be a turret. I could see a lot of people trying to mix her up with like Watson or Caustic or something like that. They're going to play really defensively. They're going to try and bunker down somewhere. It's not going to be for an aggressive player, no matter how you try to slice it. I don't see a player like you picking Rampart on the regular. I just don't. I don't see it being something that the big players in Apex picking regularly. Maybe just to goof off and have a little bit of fun. But yeah.
Yeah, she'll be better than Loba. And that's another thing that we didn't really touch on, but certain characters need certain things done to them, and Loba's definitely one of them. She's got next to no useful kit. She's slowed when she uses her Q. She's slowed while waiting for her Q, and she's totally vulnerable after she uses her Q for a couple of seconds, and it's like, oof, that's not fun. That's a level of fun that I'm not seeing there. And her ult is basically useless as well, because while you're waiting to put down your ult and have it come out, you're again vulnerable. You're standing there looting this thing and scrolling through all these boxes that may or may not have anything you want in them, whereas I'm halfway across the map killing people that have things that I want. It's like I don't know, weird.
Yeah. I've tried using Loba, and I did enjoy her a little bit, but those glaring problems with her were giving me a lot of issues. If I was playing in a defensive manner, Loba was pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I did like caustic bunker up with a couple of my buddies one time, and we were actually at the train station on World's Edge, and we were in the little train cars up high, and I would use the little black market thing. Yeah, that's it, black market. And I would pull something out, or they would pull something out, because we were pretty much well stocked. But whenever we started running low on stuff, because we weren't coming out of our little perch, it worked out. But she's just not an aggressive character. But I think that if you were to rework her to where she didn't have the the lag time whenever you're coming out of her queue and the waiting for the queue. She could be geared to a more aggressive character. You know, a more aggressive player could be, pick her up and play with her using her queue in a assault like fashion.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me, what do you think about this new crafting system that's going to be coming out in the new season?
I mean, again, I haven't played with it, so it remains to be seen. But I can see it being irritating for pubs. I can see it being really good for ranked. I can see it being really good for scrims. When you have competent players that are playing together, it's going to be nice to be able to take the 2, 3 white light mags and upgrade them. You know, because sometimes you just can't find that blue or purple because you're, playing for position in a higher tier, things like that. But in pubs, I can definitely see some weirdo, stocking up on all the good stuff.
Yeah, that one loot ninja, loot goblin.
Yeah, I can see him being, that guy that's hoarding all the magazines, trying to craft his purple while you're sitting there with no magazine or no bolt on anything, just running around going, I'd really like to have at least a white, or a blue. It's gonna be rough.
Something. Throw me a bone here.
Yeah.
So, do you have any predictions for season 6? Anything that's already been heard or said, or something that hasn't been talked about but you would like to talk about it?
Oof. Man. Well, to be honest, I praise them for being able to put updates out at all. But at the same time, I'm optimistically hopeful that they don't break the game with the Vault. An energy weapon that has no drop off as an SMG was one of the only reasons why people didn't run the R9 and snipe with the damn thing, and they still kind of do. Really good players are still really good, and you throw that Vault in their hands and it has the potential to ruin the game.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I've watched you snipe with that R9. There's been a couple of times when I've been in your stream wondering how in the hell you pulled those shots the way you did.
Yeah, it's once you get to playing with any specific gun and you're adept at the game, you're gonna find ways to make these things work in situations, and that's why the Prowler really was never looked at, because nobody ever really picked it up and used it to find the situations that it's really good at. Some people did, but most people were kind of like, R9, cool, good to go. Well, now people are realizing that the Prowler can beat the R9. The Prowler can beat a flatline. The Prowler can beat every gun in the game pretty handily. So if they don't address that with the next update, yikes. Prowler meta, Vault as your backup. It's going to be GG's for pretty much everyone, because you're going to have so many bullets flying at you, It's going to be hard to even breathe. So we'll see.
Right on. I mean, Prowler's been baby for me for God, since not since season 0, but season 1 definitely.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, where would you like to see Apex go in the future? Like new character types, new maps, new weapons, new mods?
Oh man. I would love to see Olympus, I think it was called, the new map. I would love to see that. I would love to see Bangalore get a little look at. I would love to see Loba get a completely redone. She's about useless. I would like to see a few things with in-game bugs. Watson traps not registering or loading are still an annoyance. Grenade issues where you throw one and it's keep your hand out like you have another one, but you only had one. That still happens. Healing bugs where you go to heal and it just cancels or doesn't pull out the right one. You got to actually open your inventory, click on it. That's more rare than the other two, but it does happen. Let's see. The phase being killed in your phase when you're portaling with a revolt. If it's a thing that I've seen a couple of times happen. You start your portal, you grab revolt, you portal through, you place your portal, you get knocked out of revolt, and instead of it putting you back at the revolt, it puts you back through your portal and you die in your portal. That's an issue. There's a couple little things that I know of map glitch wise that haven't been addressed yet, and I don't like to exploit them or even talk about them. But there's a few places on the map that need reworking. The timeout zones are really cheesy for ranked and for scrims. People sitting up in corners of rocks and mountains that they shouldn't be able to sit in. Mainly, honestly, just the hacking thing needs to be really addressed more than anything else and before anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah, you had also made a mention about how you were looking through a sniper scope and it took a little bit of time for that to render properly on the other end. Like you went for a headshot and a Watson trap didn't load in. And that was another big thing that you had talked about. And you had touched on it just really briefly here with me again tonight. So that's something that I kind of really like to point out, because things should be rendering into the world at a pretty consistent rate. It's not like a huge game, so it's not like it's running a shit ton of assets at once. I mean, I'm not a programmer, so I mean, I may be misspeaking, but if you can look through a scope and you can see a player, but you can't see a player asset that they're standing right next to, that's kind of an issue. That's like saying that a player could be standing next to a rock and you can see the player, but you didn't see the rock that they're standing next to. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I've shot through rocks before in the game, and I didn't even know there was a rock there. And when I say shot through, I don't mean like actually shot through. I just hit the rock, but it didn't load in. But as far as what you're talking about with the scope, it's a frame rendering issue that's not on the player's end. I've seen it in many different pro players and many different just regular players. I've seen it on Xbox as well as PC. And what'll happen is it happens on all the sniper scopes, but I've seen it more on the 6 times and noticed it longer on the 6 times than I have anything else. It's where you aim down sight on the scope, and for a fraction of a second, all you see is like a orange or a red or a blue, like whatever the background is of what you're aiming at. And then after a couple frames, you get the image. You get what you're actually aiming at. And that matters, and when you're in a pro comp situation with 100 grand plus on the line and you lose because you can't see a Watson trap and you go up a zip line and you hit a Watson trap, or there's no audio from someone pushing you. The audio is a completely separate issue that they need to look at. Or that, like I said, you aim down sights on a sniper scope, and for that half a second that you could have got that headshot, and now you hit a body shot instead, or you missed entirely. That's those things matter.
Yep, I agree. But again, I greatly appreciate you giving me this much of your time. If you're about to start the stream, I'm going to be jumping in there for you for maybe about an hour, then I'm going to conk out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be starting up the stream here in just a second.
But, yeah, man. Again, you are an inspiration for why I'm doing the things that I am doing right now. I enjoy being a part of the Fatal Fam, and I enjoy every stream that I watch, and I love being a part of the community that you've built.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. It means a lot, really.
But, yeah, man, I'm going to go ahead and let you go for the day, and going to go ahead and let everybody know that we greatly appreciate them stopping by the channel, and hopefully they watch this and stop by the stream if they haven't already.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And it's good talking to you, man.
Definitely, man. Take it easy, man. I'll see you in stream.
All right. Later, bud.